What's up, everybody? It's the Week 9 starter Sitshow with Jeff Krisko. As always, I'm honored that the Niners are not playing at home because that means
They're
Jeff
not
here.
playing at all this week.
Jeff,
They can't hurt me.
how you doing? How's the adopted cat going?
He's currently in the window, staring out at the area he used to reign over. He's locked in the room with me. I'm not locked in here with him. He's locked in here with me. I think this week we're scrapping the football. We're going to talk about Seltzer and Company projecting Iowa to Kamala Harris. If Kamala Harris wins, that's 24 paths to victory for the Democrats, 16 for the Republicans. Evan, we're going to break it. No, we're going to talk about football. So got a crazy inactive report this week. Couple of, I would say not quite Seltzer and Co level shocks, but no Amari Cooper today, ruled out this morning. Brian Robinson as well. They join DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, JuJu Smith-Schuster, Tyjae Spears, Zack Moss, Dallas Goedert, and Noah Fant as players that have already been ruled out for this week. There's two wide receivers that are expected to not play this week that have been banged up. Those are Gabe Davis and Sterling Shepard. And then there's a lot of players that are expected to be in. Jordan Love is expected to play this week. I'm iffy on playing him, though, given the weather conditions there. Josh Downs, Michael Pittman are expected to play, as are Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, the Jaguars running back duo, Kareem Hunt, and today is the return of TJ Hockenson from his injury. So, big day in football. I'm gonna be dual TVing, and that won't even be enough.
What's that segment
what?
Tony came up with where you name your big boom plays?
Oh, my boom plays of the week.
Okay.
Boom plays of the week. Greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes. Have you ever heard of him? Bucks are allowing the most fantasy points to quarterbacks over the last 5 weeks. I've got my boom wide receiver is Cooper Kupp. I think that even with Puka healthy, they're going to lean on Kupp, and Seattle's a passing game that you can exploit, especially recently. I do like a little further down guys there, like also this week, like Jalen Coker. The Saints are decimated in the secondary. Speaking of the Saints, I'm going for Alvin Kamara as my boom running back of the week. He's been not what we expected of him, but Derek Carr is back. The Panthers are the Panthers. Their injury report is as long as their actives report. And then for my boom tight end, it's a hard week for boom tight ends. Not great. Like the guys that are doing well up at the top, like Tampa Bay. Travis Kelce has the best matchup. Oh, you're playing Travis Kelce. Brock Bowers has the second best. You're playing Brock Bowers. Grant Calcaterra. You're not playing Grant Calcaterra. So I had to go all the way down. I think that it's going to be Kyle Pitts continues his hot streak this week against the Cowboys. They're decimated in the defensive side of the ball. They just had George Kittle go off against them last week. Was that last week? 2 weeks ago. Whenever, I don't know, man. Whenever the 49ers had their home game. I think that was last week. Kyle Pitts is my boom tight end of the week. So I got Patrick Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, Cooper Kupp, and Kyle Pitts. Other guys that I like as well this week. I think that Bo Nix has a huge game. Joe Flacco has a good one. Kirk Cousins. Derek Carr is a sneaky play this week, coming back from injury. Kyron's probably going to score 2 touchdowns. Chuba should have a good game. Devon Etienne, DeAndre Swift. And then also in the wide receivers, the Eagles guys should have big games. CeeDee Lamb, big game. That's where I'm sitting this week. Those are the guys that I like. And I don't know if Evan is talking. I cannot hear him if he is.
Sorry,
So I'm gonna load up the.
we temporarily disconnected. I fixed it.
Okay, we temporarily disconnected.
I had one too many. We're back on though. We're back on. Yeah. Hey, thanks
Okay,
for. Yeah,
perfect.
you're right, AK Magic. I had one too many windows open, so.
All right, so we got any stream froze for AK. So I'm gonna run down my boom plays real quick again. I got Patrick Mahomes, who hasn't finished inside the top 12 yet this season. I've got Cooper Kupp. I think Seattle they'll be throwing on. I've got Alvin Kamara going against this beat up Panthers defense, but there's a lot of good running back matchups this week. Kamara, Kyron, Chuba, Devon Achane, DeAndre Swift, and then even whoever totes the ball the most for the the Titans looks like it's going to be Tony Pollard. And then tight ends, it's not a great week for tight ends. Sam Laporta, Jake Ferguson, Kyle Pitts have the best matchups, but they're 8, 9, and 10. And so do Travis Kelce and Brock Bowers. They're 1 and 2, but those are all guys that you're already playing. So what are you going to do? TJ Hockenson, good matchup in his comeback. So how we doing?
Solid. We're back on.
Solid.
And
Okay.
this worked. This plane is in the air.
Can I share my screen? We're going to be talking about, here we go. Change. Oh, I can only blur it because I don't have Nitro. Never mind. I was going to say, change the topic. We're going to be talking about the election, baby.
We'll welcome election chat.
Coming in from the chat, we've got Eric Landon asking, hey, would you start Austin Eckler or Chase Brown? Brian Robinson Jr. and Zack Moss both out. I would be starting Chase Brown. Chase Brown is the better player at this point in his career. The Bengals have the running back as a bigger focus of the offense in a way that's more conducive to Chase Brown having a big game. Even with Zack Moss playing, Walker did have Chase Brown as running back 22 going up against this terrible Raiders defense. So I would start Chase Brown over Austin Eckler. But it does make Austin Eckler more intriguing because I think the other guy there it was some guy that was like, oh, he ended up in Washington. Commanders. All right, I'm tempting fate here because I froze everything going to our lads on the podcast this week. So let's see. I forget who their number 3 running back is. It's Jeremy McNichols. That's right. So I wouldn't worry about that. All right, AK says need to start 2 in full PPR. Likely need ceiling plays to win. BTJ at Eagles. Keon Coleman versus Miami. Chubb versus the Chargers. Madison versus the Bengals. If you're going ceiling, I would go BTJ, obviously. We've seen what he can do. And I would go Keon Coleman versus Miami. The secondary in Miami is one that they have a lot of talent, but with no Amari Cooper, they're going to have to switch up the game plan. I think that Keon Coleman is the highest ceiling there, especially because Nick Chubb is playing the Chargers, strong defense, and Alexander Madison sucks. So Alexander Madison could have 2 rushing touchdowns and like 15 fantasy points because he's bad. 14 carries for 15 yards last week. He sucks. Yeah, no Zach Sealer, no Javon Holland. I know they could run all over Miami, but if we're talking ceiling plays, Keon Coleman does have the ceiling play there. If we're talking like I can rank them, I would go BTJ, Keon Coleman. I would go bet on talent with Nick Chubb, and then I would go Alexander Madison. Because Alexander Madison is a volume play. So if you're not liking the Keon Coleman, I would go Nick Chubb there. But that's more of a floor play. We'll see how Jameis does in his second start.
6-point passing touchdowns. Sam Darnold versus Indianapolis or Kirk Cousins versus Dallas.
I'm going Kirko. Kirko was almost one of my boom players this week again, but I wasn't going back to that well after he came in with 4 touchdowns last week. So I would go Kirk Cousins here. The Cowboys are a team that you can throw on. They're a team that you can definitely attack. Their defense is really, really banged up. So I would go with Kirk Cousins over Sam Darnold. Especially because the loss to Christian Darrisaw, I know they went and got Cam Robinson, but that changes a lot. Sam Darnold is Mr. I Saw Ghosts. I wasn't impressed with what he did in his one start last year with a not very good 49ers offensive line. I'm worried how much of what Sam Darnold has done this year has been because he knows his blind side is protected.
My logic is that for Cousins, I agree with you. That's what I was going for, but I thought about it all week. My logic is that Atlanta versus Dallas could be a shootout, or yes, it could be Dallas just gets blown out. But either way, their opponent's going to score a lot of points. Whereas Miami and Indianapolis, I'm like, I don't know what's going to go there. Are we just going to run the ball a bunch of times because do we have a change of quarterback or what's going on?
Yeah, there's 2 outcomes for that game. One is the combined scores over 60, and it's a close game, or it's over 40, and Dallas is getting blown out. Like last week against the Niners, Dallas made it a game, but really it was 2 garbage time touchdowns. AK's asking, I wouldn't play Chubb over Monty. No, I wouldn't. I had to get Monty out of my lineup in my home league, and I hate it. But I've got Hunt, James Cook, and Alvin Kamara, and 1 flex spot. So, yeah. Oh, Stray Cat's going crazy. Here, we'll do cat cam. Cat cam while we wait for more. Oh, he moved out of the cat cam area. We just see spray bottle and oh, there he goes. We just see spray bottle and broken chair that the cat likes to sit in. So, all right. Yeah, I think one thing that I kind of wanted to discuss. Where was it? I had it in my notes. Oh, the Green Bay and Lions game. So Green Bay and Lions, they are projected to have a good amount of rain today. I know people tend to overreact to weather, unless it's like a torrential downpour. Games aren't usually too bad. What you do usually see is less bombs. You do see more checkdowns. You do see more short passes, more out route stuff that's only working 9 to 12 yards downfield, that sort of thing, where they can kind of mitigate any sort of wind gusts that might happen. So I'm not too worried about that. There are only 2 things that do give me pause about that game, and they are the quarterbacks. So Jared Goff traditionally does not do well outside of the dome. Like, he did not do well in LA. And when he leaves the dome, he does struggle. So there is that. There is that factor. The other factor is that Jordan Love was injured coming into this game, and a slippery field means that he could aggravate that groin injury pretty easily. So I would stay away from starting Jordan Love just out of an abundance of caution. I also wouldn't be getting cute with like Christian Watson or Dontavian Wicks. I would stick to Jaden Reed on the Packers side. And then like Romeo Dobbs is just like, he's a touchdown or bust option right now, I think. On the Lions side, it's a smoke him if you got him. You're starting everybody you can there. You can stay away from Jared Goff. Last week, they won 52-14. He threw the ball for less than 100 yards, but had like 4 touchdowns. So it does kind of even out there. But I am thinking, I was going to say projecting, but I don't project. I am thinking that it's going to be a lot of Josh Jacobs, a lot of David Montgomery, and a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs in this one. I almost said Alvin Kamara because Jahmyr Gibbs is just small Alvin Kamara. All right.
I really love OJ's question. Yeah.
Yeah, planning on starting Coker over Wandale because the Saints have no CBs. Seems like he might be the only healthy receiver. OJ, you were getting a resounding. Oh, one went over the mic. I stand. I didn't want to do that. Resounding 2 thumbs up to that decision. Wandale Robinson is he's a gimmick play. He's a, hey, I'm going to get a bunch of targets in PPR. But we've seen Darius Slayton come along recently. We've also seen Malik Neighbors come back to health. The Giants matchup in this one is the Commanders, which they are sneakily better recently than they have been to start the year. Like last week, they held Caleb to 12 points, Caleb and the Bears. So I would not be attacking Washington right now. So I do think that that's a great call, OJ. I would be doing that, especially because, the Saints already lost Paulson Adebo. They've got Marshawn Lattimore banged up. They've got, I'm completely blanking on who the third guy. Kool-Aid McKinstry is banged up. And so they've got they're probably going to have a practice squad player on the field for half the game. And granted, there's a practice squad quarterback throwing Jalen Coker the ball, but that worked out for him last week. So I am co-signing that play of Jalen Coker over Wandale Robinson this week. And yes, Daniel Jones is so bad it's hard to start Wandale. That's true.
Solid. AK wants to know. Sorry.
Oh wait, hold on. One more thing. Also, that offense was questionable with Andrew Thomas. Now they don't have Andrew Thomas, and things are bad. Things are really bad for the Giants offense. They're lucky they got Tyrone Tracy, who is in today. He didn't make the list. He cleared concussion protocol, but I wasn't marking players that were in. So yeah, it's rough there in New York.
AK has a league that really punishes passing with 4-point passing touchdowns and -2 For interceptions, they want to know Stafford versus Seattle or May versus Titans.
I'd go Stafford versus Seattle. I do think that the Saints win. I'm not the Saints. Sorry, the Patriots win this week against the Titans with Drake May in. But Drake May does have a little bit of that bozo gene, and the Titans are they're a good pass defense. They're not a great one, but they are one that generates turnovers. So in a league that punishes turnovers like this, I would go with Matthew Stafford. Again, I'm going to say after his big game last season. When he had all of his weapons available, except for Hate Crime Higbee. So just the weapons that he was going to have this year. Cut, Puka, and Kyron, he was a top 10 quarterback. So I'm rolling with Matthew Stafford. Also, the Seahawks are I think they're about to hit the skids. They are struggling. So with Puka playing, or Puka at least being a decoy, I'm going with Matthew Stafford this week.
And welcome to the chat, Lady Sandry. She has to pick
Hello.
Wandale or Brian Thomas Jr.
So I think that comes down to did you get Garrett Wilson on Thursday Night Football? Did you get Devontae Adams on Thursday Night Football? Because if you did, you got to go. You got to go with the BTJ upside play there. Honestly, though, if I had my druthers, I would go with BTJ playing against Adams. Yep. So yeah, I would go BTJ because you're already in that hole. So if Brian Thomas Jr. does hit the struggle bus, you were swinging for the fences anyway. Sometimes when you swing for the fences, you go 0 for 3. And that's what happens. I call that the Aaron Judge effect. Folks, any Yankees fans in the chat, I am not sorry you lost. I also am upset the Dodgers won. So it's a lose-lose there. But yeah, playing against Adams, that's a struggle.
I have never been more uninterested in baseball as I was when I saw this World Series lineup.
I mean, people say that, but this is like last year people were complaining that it was the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. And they're like, where's the star power? Where's the big markets? And then this year we have let's see, Kershaw, Ohtani, Soto, Judge, Mookie, Freddie Freeman. We have at least 6 future Hall of Famers in this World Series. So I wasn't happy with whoever won. I'm glad that Shohei got his ring. He's my favorite baseball player. But yeah, it's like we can't win. Oh my God. Sandry lost 200 to 180 last week. Played against CeeDee Lamb. I played against CeeDee Lamb. Tony had CeeDee Lamb, and I lost by 1 point on that BS end of game touchdown in the FA Riders League, which I will not be making it to the finals again. I think I've made it 3 straight years. I will not be making it to the finals again.
But we got bad Shohei. That was my problem.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't great, and then he hurt his shoulder. But it was great because 2 of the kids that I work with at work, I will say, one's 22 and one's 21. One is a Yankees fan and one is a Dodgers fan. So it was fun talking shit.
How hard is it to work in the auto industry in an election year?
Not. Why?
I imagine a lot of opinions that are not well thought out.
Oh, I'm the opinion meister of the office. People come talk to. I mean, okay. So here's the thing: working in the auto industry. So we've got. I mean, I work in an area that is rich, and we'll say hill people adjacent, and so you can see where that tracks. But I also had a car. So we had a bumper sticker this week that had people like to put FJB edition on their trucks, but I also had a bumper sticker come in that said Donald Trump is a piece of shit. I only talk politics with one guy. That's the only person I talk politics with. And he's more curious because I don't think he's ever met a dyed-in-the-wool actual socialist before. So he's more curious about picking my brain about stuff. So yeah, it's actually not too bad.
Somebody replaced their Trump Vance sign with a McCain Palin sign, and I was like, okay, I don't know, I kind of want to know you,
Taking it old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a McCain Palin bumper sticker. I was like, good on you for keeping that car running for this long.
Wow, that's
All
a
right.
long time.
AK got Mostert and McConkeyed by the worst team. Oh my god. Losing to Raheem Mostert and bad McConkey, which by the way, I said if he has a good week this week, I said on the podcast, we would be officially calling him Rad McConkey from here on out. That's a rough way to lose, man. That's like a bad beat on the river in Texas Hold'em. Speaking of which, speaking of the podcast, if any folks in the chat are Patreon subscribers, we will be recording on Wednesday this week. This is not a last minute change. This is we looked deep inside ourselves and realized that with the election on Tuesday, we would probably be way too distracted to give good information. So Hurts Barkley ticket, I'd vote for that. And Jalen Hurts, one of the most handsome guys in football. Let's go. All right. Swapped McConkey for Ayuk in my rebuilding dynasty league. Bad move. I think that's a good move. I think long term, if things go according to plan in San Francisco, then Brandon Ayuk will become a bigger part of the offense going forward. Obviously, Debo restructured his contract, but he's on the way out. George Kittle is surprisingly old. And then if things go the way they should go in Los Angeles, Lad McConkey will be the wide receiver one there, but it's going to be wide receiver one for a Jim Harbaugh team that likes to run the football, run the rock. And J.K. Dobbins hasn't been up to snuff lately, so they'll probably get an upgrade at running back next year, which makes McConkey not as much of an upside play as folks think. So if you're rebuilding, I love it, especially because it'll get you a better pick for this draft.
I totally forgot what I was going to say here. Thank you for your support.
What are we eating today, Evan?
I'm having my favorite breakfast. It's a Safeway croissant breakfast sandwich with chorizo. And I add chipotle and pepper jack and red peppers, red onion, green pepper, pickles, and jalapeno. It's perfect for my weird palate. It's so good.
Man, that sounds like a lot of flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a leftover Halloween candy. I had check this out. So I've been well, let's see. Quit in the chat. The Josh Dobbs Brandon Ayuk stack in 2026 is gonna feed my family. The Pasternak. Get out of here, AK. So I have been a few weeks ago. My buddy and I went to the 49ers game, and he looks great. He lost a ton of weight. He's got a personal trainer, all this stuff. But his personal trainer was telling him all this weird stuff about seed oils and everything. And like I had a good, like he wanted high protein, low carb. I was like, I got you, dude. I marinated some cucumbers. I did an Asian spice on the chicken. I had Asian salad, like bag mix. Like we're good. And then he was like, oh, I can't have that salad. It has seed oils in it. And I was like, what are you talking about, big dog? And so we started talking about it, and I was like, hey man, guess what I'm gonna do? He's like, what? I was like, I'm gonna lose a ton of weight and I'm not gonna care about seed oils. And I was like, just specifically to prove your personal trainer wrong. And that's what I'm in the midst of doing. So that was a few weeks ago. I'm down 8.5 pounds, baby. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I had the best case scenario, which was I just ate and ate leftover Halloween candy yesterday, and I was down 0.5 pound today. So let's go. All right, we got some actual questions coming in. Hopkins versus Tampa Bay or Coleman versus Miami. I would. So if you're playing Nuke Hopkins, you are hoping for a touchdown. Or you're banking on some sort of expansion of his role. We have seen that type of role. The role I think he's going to fill there is the one that Rashee Rice was filling, and then JuJu was filling, where it's kind of that underneath target. So Tampa Bay does struggle against opposing wide receivers, but they are getting Antoine Winfield back this week. So I would say that's an okay play. I would say I'd say the floor play is Nuke. I would say the upside play is Keon Coleman. So the same thing I said to Lady Sandry earlier, insofar as if you got blown out on Thursday or if you're facing an uphill climb, I would go with Keon Coleman. If you are just trying to make sure you get some points, I would go with DeAndre Hopkins. And thanks, OJ. Yeah. And yeah, thank you for the congratulations. And I used to be in really good shape, and then I stress ate every day on my way home from work, and so now I'm trying to undo that, the damage I did to my body.
My secret to weight loss is I substitute teach every day, and my secret to weight loss is take primary elementary, first, second, third grade classes. I'm down 5 pounds after I switched to those.
Yeah.
You run around all day.
Do you want to know this? Do you want to know the secret to gaining weight? Having a stressful job that's right next to a 7-Eleven, and then you have a half-hour drive home. Because then you just get candy or chips or something and stress eat on your way home. Woo! All right, AK, if I'm going against Bijan, Kamara, and Chuba, I need the ceiling strategy versus floor, right? Yeah. Kamara and Chuba both have top 4 matchups on the week, and Bijan is playing the Cowboys, who haven't been bad over the last 5 weeks, but they got rinsed last week by Isaac Guerrero. So yeah, you're going ceiling there. Started working in a brewery and it's impossible to lose weight. Yeah, Eric, I get that. Luckily, my saving grace is my wife and I have gotten all of our drinking out of the way. to Ozempic. Man, Tua's an interesting character. Tua is very funny with the I refuse to ever wear the Guardian cap, and you got to look into the Sound of Freedom movie. Interesting guy, interesting cat.
Wait, Tua Tagovailoa? I just butchered his name. Sorry.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Thank you.
Yeah, he will never wear the Guardian cap, he said. Or he said he won't wear the Guardian cap as of now. And a couple of years ago last year when Sound of Freedom was going off, he's like, "Hey, have you guys heard about this movie?" It's like, "Oh boy, the QAnon movie? All right, man. Bet so much money on Buffalo, 9.5 ultimate spread. I can't believe they're only favored by 6 at home." Yeah, that's wild.
It's a division game. It's a division game. I mean, Baltimore lost to Cleveland last week. Jameis Winston.
I mean, Baltimore should not have lost to Cleveland. Kyle Hamilton, one of the best safeties, one of the most ball hawking safeties in the league, drops a gimme pass.
Yeah, my kids were all dooming. They're like, they're gonna do awful because we do awful against awful teams, and they were right. They know the team.
Yeah, they were right. Also, by the way, since we don't have a lot of questions and it's just kind of free flowing chat, I need to talk about. So I was gonna bust it out, but actually I can bust it out. Hold on. I need to show everybody the newest edition of thing that Jeff got. A cool thing in Jeff's office, and please don't roast me for my sweatpants.
And while Jeff's doing that, I will make noise so that we don't have dead air. That's when there's no noise.
From my uncle, passed away a few months ago. A legit 1980s 49er starter jacket. I can't hear anything anybody's saying, but I'm the only sports fan in the family, so I'm inheriting all of his cool sports stuff. So if the 49ers have a home game, this is making it out. Otherwise, it's staying in my closet where none of my stupid pets can get at it.
That's awesome. I still rock my Bulls starter parka that I got when Michael Jordan was in his second year.
The cool thing in Jeff's office right now. What'd you say?
I was talking about how I still, on the schoolyard, rock my Bulls parka that I bought in 1985. Starter makes good clothes, y'all.
They do. That's a legit night. That's been to 6 Super Bowls. He wore it to New Orleans too. So wow. That's a legit 1980 starter jacket. We got some questions. Is Bo Nix the real deal, or will he come crashing back down to earth? No and no. Bo Nix is a very by hook or by crook quarterback. He's like a fancy Zach Wilson, but with better short area accuracy. But he's not coming back down to earth this week. The Ravens just get torched by opposing quarterbacks. Jameis got up off the couch and got for 303 against him last week. I actually really like Bo Nix this week, but he's very much a matchup play. Walker here, I'll put it a different way. Walker hates Bo Nix, and Walker is Bo Nix 8th this week. So I don't think he's the real deal. He will eventually come crashing down to earth, just not this week. Josh Allen 12-2 against Miami. Yeah, Josh Allen owns Miami, and I made the mistake of picking Miami earlier this year, and I did not make that mistake again this week. We got T-Bills 15, half PPR, pick one to flex. Cedric Tillman, Javonte Williams, Romeo Dobbs, Jalen Coker. Woo! All right, so I'm going to rank those. I would probably go... Hold on, let me double check matchups real quick. Does make answering the question a little bit easier. So we got Tillman against the Chargers. That's going to be a rough matchup. Hold on, I'm split screening this. We got Tillman against the Chargers. We've got Javonte against the Ravens, Dobbs against the Lions, and Coker against the Panthers. No, the Saints. He's on the Panthers. Tillman's probably going to be the wide receiver 1 there in Cleveland going forward. That seems to be the case, but you know, the matchup against the Chargers does have me a little antsy. They are a team that likes to slow the game down. I would Javonte Williams against Baltimore. You can pass on them, not run on them. So I think his string of good games kind of slows down. So I would probably go in half PPR. I would probably go. Screw it. I'm going Coker, Tillman, Williams, Dobbs. I'm staying away from the Packers guys today because it's going to be a nasty weather game, and also Jordan Love could possibly get hurt again. So I'm trying to stay away from those depth Packers guys.
Solid. Also,
that was a really good question. Tillman and Coker, though, if you ask me again in 10 minutes, that could flip flop. That's a very tough question.
Yeah. Also, it's the 10-year anniversary of Chuck Grassley tweeting that the Dairy Queen is a great place for you know what.
Yeah. I almost said the McFlurry. Sorry, I'm very distracted because I got an ad for the Jabba's Sail Barge Lego kit. It's $500. But it looks dope. Oh, this sucker is huge. Okay. Blame that on... Oh, are we back? We're back, but I cannot hear Evan.
Sorry, my internet is a little hiccupy today because of storms, and then I always forget that I'm muted when we get back on because I'm so excited we're back on.
All right, this might be a game where it kind of makes sense to start Malik Willis over Love given weather and injuries. It kind of does, but it's also conceding that you're going to get the snot kicked out of you by the Lions. So I think that as soon as Jordan Love gets a little iffy or feels a tweak or something, they're pulling him. So that's why I don't trust Jordan Love this week. It's out of an abundance of caution. Like, he could throw for 3 touchdowns. I still wouldn't feel bad about saying to bench him. But Evan, what I was saying was, remember when we told the ad folks that we don't want political ads?
No, I don't remember that, but I believe it.
Oh, yeah. Well, now we got ads for Fogo de Chão and Jabba's Sail Barge Lego. So let's go.
Okay. Courting the high-end viewer.
That's right. Courting the sophisticated palate. Oh, dang. Now we got a Jaws Lego. Dang. All right. I'm trying to think of... I had some points that I wanted to make. But I think I made them all. TJ Hockenson. TJ Hockenson. I expected us to be getting more TJ Hockenson questions. The best case scenario for TJ Hockenson is he goes off on your bench tonight. A guy first game back from his injury, huge layoff. I am not starting TJ Hockenson in his first game back. Like, if your choice is like TJ Hockenson or like, let's say Hawk or like Tucker Kraft in this game that we've been talking about, or Cole Kmet or Dalton Schultz, I would go with TJ Hockenson. But if you're trying to decide between like Hawk and Mark Andrews or Hawk and Zach Ertz, I would go with Hawk. Walker would go with Hawk over those two guys, but I disagree with them. So yeah, he's an upper block guy. Best Halloween costume I've seen this year. I didn't really see Halloween costumes. The reason I was eating so much Halloween candy yesterday was I think we had like 4 or 5 groups of kids. And they were all babies or teenagers. Like, the last group, the guy was wearing cologne. And I was like, all right, man, take the candy. But, you know, there should be a rule. If you're wearing cologne or Axe body spray, you don't get to trick or treat. So I didn't even really see any cool costumes this year. Like at work, we didn't have any costumes. One guy, he used to work at our shop. Used to be a Cook's Collision, which was a small Northern California chain. And so he wears his old Cook shirt every Halloween. Like he goes as a Cook's Collision employee. But other than that, I didn't even really see any Halloween costumes here.
Welcome to the chat. Kyle wants to know full PPR, Love or Cousins, Dubs or McMillan, Bengals or Chargers. Worried about the rain in Green Bay.
Kyle, I am also worried about the rain in Green Bay. I am, out of an abundance of caution, not playing Jordan Love today if I can help it. I also really like Kirk Cousins going up against the Cowboys. So that's an easy play there. Kirk Cousins, Dobbs or McMillan. Jalen Dobbs is really going to be a touchdown or bust play. And McMillan wasn't really even that last week. So I would go Dobbs. The Lions are a team you can throw on. So even if it does become Malik Willis and even with the weather, you can still get a touchdown. Dobbs is not really running routes or getting targets that are going to be affected by the weather. And then Bengals or Chargers. So Bengals are playing up against who are the Bengals playing up against? Why am I blanking here? Playing up against the Raiders. Ooh, that's a tough one. Raiders or Chargers against the Browns. I would the matchup play is with the Bengals. So I will go, but the Chargers are the better defense. So that's where the struggles come in. I would say that I would go with the Bengals here. Chargers aren't really a defense that like lights you up, gets a lot of big plays sort of deal. So I'll go with the matchup here with the Bengals.
Solid. I am really
That's a good question though.
I am really looking forward to my Deontay Johnson start in my golf league. That guy's
I gotta get in on golf. I gotta get in on golf league next year.
It's so great because there's always players.
Yeah.
You're never like, oh, there's no guys in the waiver. You're like, wow, this is a bunch of garbage. It's so good. Who's gonna get one carry then benched?
Yeah. So does a player have to accrue statistics to?
Yeah, if you get a 0, you get a 20.
Okay. So he's got to get like the best case scenario is a guy gets 1 carry for 1 yard, fumbles the ball, and then gets benched.
Fumbles a punt and gets benched for the rest of the game. Yeah, solid -2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or is it a situation where the best case is a guy gets blown up for like -5, gets blown up in the backfield, fumbles the ball? I really want to be. I want to get in on golf league next year.
It's a fun way to
like
think.
fun.
Like I'm like Deontay Johnson has to catch at least 1 pass. That's a mandatory thing. But they're not going to start him for many plays. So let's go.
Yeah, I remember years ago, I played in something similar to that on something awful, but they just flipped the scoring settings. So it was like every yard passing was like a negative yard, or was like negative points, and you got like points for like drops or incompletions, and it was fun because it wasn't like you actually had to start players that were going to be playing and playing poorly. So that was because you actually were trying to accrue points instead of just getting the lowest number.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, how is that? Oh, and a win counts as a win? A win is good. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
A win is good.
In golf league, a win is bad.
Yeah. So in this one, they just flipped the scoring settings around. So like a rushing yard was like a touchdown was worth like -10 points, something crazy. But like I forget how the scoring settings worked, if I'm being honest with you, because you did have to actually play players that were playing to accumulate points. I think it was like tackles for loss. Like if your guy got tackled for loss, you got points. If your quarterback didn't complete passes, you got points. So it was kind of a flip.
We might tweak the
1 carry,
settings.
0. Huh?
We might tweak the settings. There's some bad beats that still happen that we're not sure we want in there. Like 1 week, a running back, got 2 carries, 1 for 1 yard, 1 for -1 yard.
So he registered 0 points.
Yeah, and scored 20. And we're like, I don't know. You made a great start. Like he had 2 carries for 0 yards. He got the ball.
I mean, you could tweak that by just making carries worth like 0.01 points.
That's interesting.
So something that won't really like
that's
move the
interesting.
needle.
Yeah,
But it
I like that.
make sure you register. Like targets are worth 0.01, carries are worth 0.01. Something that won't really move the needle, but it makes sure that you register points.
Carries being that's good. I'll probably pitch that.
Geno Smith or Jameis is the question in the chat. So Jameis is going up against the Chargers. Geno going up against the Rams. That's a very good question. I'm going to go high variance player here is Jameis. Jameis could have 303 again, or he could have 3 turnovers and get benched for DTR. Geno Smith is going to play all game. So if you're shooting for the upside here, like if you're trying to figure out which guy is more likely to finish inside the top 10, I would go with Jameis because Geno doesn't have DK Metcalf. But Jameis is also the guy most likely to end up outside the top 20 because of the bozo gene. So there is that that whole factor in there. So that is a tough question. If it was up to me, I would probably be rolling Jameis, but Walker has Geno 16th, Jameis 20th. Jameis does have a chance to just completely shit the bed though. So there is that.
Winston, ceiling and floor.
Ceiling and floor, yeah.
Geno for the guaranteed points.
Geno is your ideal QB2 in a 2-quarterback league. Like you're just like, I spent nothing on you. You get me 15 points every week, and I'm never mad at you.
While we have a lull in the chat, what are your boom plays again?
Boom plays again. So we've got greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes, up against the Bucks. Sounds crazy, but he is yet to be a top 12 quarterback this season. I've got Cooper Kupp going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I do also like Jalen Coker, and I do also like the Philly guys as well as the Colts guys. For my running back, there's a whole bunch of booms this week. This is going to be a big running back week. I've got Alvin Kamara as my boom, but Kyron Williams is in a good matchup, as is Chuba Hubbard, Devon Achane, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, and Aaron Jones. So light them up. And then for tight end, it's the opposite. My boom play is Kyle Pitts going up against Dallas. This is a mix this week of guys that you're obviously starting. Kelsey Bowers, guys you're obviously not starting. Calcaterra, TJ Hockenson, Davis Allen, guys that are not subject to the laws of physics like Taysom Hill. And then you've got Laporta, Fergo, and Pitts with the 8, 9, 10 matchups. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts in this one. Cowboys are circling the drain. It was originally Laporta, but the weather is giving me pause. Laporta, I do think, does have a good game in their last game without J-Mo. So there's that as well. But my boom short is Patrick Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, Cooper Kupp, and Kyle Pitts, which if you go back to like 2022, it's like, yeah, man, those were the 4 top players at their position. So I don't know what to tell you. I guess no, Sam Laporta was a rookie last year. So 2023 for Laporta, but oh no, it was Pitts. God bless it, man.
AK Magic.
When I start to talk, my brain stops working. So, all right, we got a question from AK. Question from my buddy in another league. Full PPR, bench 1, Chuba, Kelsey, or Aid Cotton. Wow. Whew. So K-Dotton's gonna have should have a big game against the Chiefs. He's the only option in town there in the passing game, and the Chiefs do allow tight ends to flourish against them. That's usually because they're eschewing other options. So that does make me a little bit antsy. That's a tough question. God, this is crazy because my rule of thumb is to never flex a tight end, but I'm benching. God, that's tough. Those are all great plays on paper. I'm gonna say you start Kelsey and start K-Dot, bench Chuba, but that's a tough.
We are back.
All right, we're back, baby. I was checking X, the everything app, where it all happens. Nothing new there. All right, let's see. Hello, guys. Oh, it's Deku. What's up, dude? Deontay Johnson or Ty Chandler for the flex spot. Ooh. I'm gonna go Deontay. Ty Chandler had, I think, has 4 touches in his last 2 games. So even if Deontay doesn't get fully utilized, if he gets 1 catch, he could possibly outscore him. Let's see. Yeah, he has 2 carries for 4 yards over his last 2 games. Ty Chandler does. Are we the guys that made beer sheets? We are the guys that hosted beer sheets. Beer for the Beer God made them. The user interface was not quite what we wanted it to be. We'd known him for a long time through something awful. So we, hosted it. We tweaked the back end. We made it so that he didn't have to manually run the sheet updates. And so we kind of provided a framework for it, but that was all him. He's not doing them anymore, so we're trying our own hand at it. We do have a draft sheet that we do every year. Not quite the name brand value, but I think it's still good. It's still a good sheet. I know everybody loved beer sheets, but he's not doing them anymore. His life situation changed, so we do wish him the best, though.
Yes, thank you. What's going to be the garbage game of the week? What's your garbage game of the week?
Oh, easy. We got the New England Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans. Absolute snooze fest.
Drake May.
Here, let me see what. I love Drake May, but that game's gonna be a snooze fest. Hold on, let me double check what Walker said. So Walker puts in the let's see, Bozometer game of the week is Saints Panthers. Game of the week, Lions Packers. Sneaky banger of the week, Rams Seahawks. And yeah, I'm calling this the nap game of the week, the free space game, Patriots Titans. I think we spent 30 seconds on Patriots Titans on the podcast.
Is it always
yeah,
the
Eric?
Oh. Go for it.
Yeah, Eric. Incredible tool. I loved it. Helped out a lot with unusual leagues like Scott Fishbowl, that sort of thing. So yeah. I do wish he was still doing them, selfishly.
Tampa Bay versus Kansas City on Monday night. That better be good.
I hope
I'm going to need a distraction.
Oh yeah, that's like we said. I texted or I put in the podcast group chat with Walker and Mike. I was like, we're not recording on Tuesday. Like Tuesday is going to be obsessing over polls. That's what Tuesday is going to be.
Yes, and deep throating our microphones.
Well, that's just one guy.
I don't remember who he is anyway. No one knows who he is.
Jesus Christ. Jermaine Burton, healthy scratch. This guy can't get out of his own way. He missed the walkthrough on Saturday. The Bengals drafted him despite character concerns in this instance not being code for sexual assault. It's being a knucklehead, and he continues to be a knucklehead in the NFL. He's talented, but he's not going anywhere at all whatsoever. So,
did he give a reason for missing the walkthrough?
Nope.
He just didn't show up to work.
Just didn't show up to work. Yeah.
Wow.
If this was Bill Belichick, he'd be cut. Remember the guy? I forget who it was who had the huge game, and then he
Brandon Bolden.
Yeah, and was that the guy whose alarm didn't go off?
Yeah.
Or crazy. Crazy.
Yes, I bid all my remaining fab on him, only to have it turn to dust by Friday.
Into a snowdrift.
Is Belichick going to go back to work in the NFL?
I doubt it. He's got like a hot young girlfriend, and he's got all this media stuff that he does, and he can just talk about football without any stress. I don't know if he goes back.
Good. That guy was annoying to play against. So, is Andy Reid the new Belichick?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say so. It's the only coach that I fear what he's going to do. So yeah, that would be the the new one. There's a lot of good coaches in the league right now. Like a lot of good coaches.
Just for a laugh, I occasionally Google Patrick Mahomes QBR and look at it. I'm doing that now.
It's like 4.
It's like shockingly low. He's like on the list of like lowest. 66.9. Wow. That's out of 153, y'all. 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Yeah, dude. He's bad. Afraid that Jags versus Philly is going to be a trap game for Philly, and this is the week they start to implode. What are the odds that Doug P gets the best of the Birds today? I mean, there's a chance of that. I would not be betting on the team that will not have 2 of their 3 starting wide receivers. That's going into 2 wide receiver sets with Parker Washington and an injured Brian Thomas Jr. The Eagles might want to implode today, but just might not have the Jags might not have the manpower to take advantage of that because everybody's hurt there. It's like Evan Ingram is healthy and that's it. Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis are all either not playing or going to be playing banged up. So,
also, if there's anybody who probably can't scheme their old team, it might be Doug Peterson.
Why is that?
I don't think he's a very creative play caller. I don't think he looks to obvious things.
Interesting.
Do you disagree?
No, I think that he's he doesn't move the needle. That's the thing. I don't think much of Doug Peterson because I don't think of Doug Peterson.
You're rounding out that complete breakfast, I see.
Yeah, buddy. It's got 0 sugar. This cup has water in it, okay? So that's all I need.
Does it have seed oil?
I don't know. It's got phenylalanine. It's got phosphoric acid, aspartame.
In case you haven't perceived it, now is a perfect time to ask last-minute starter sit questions.
Yeah. Oh, and so while we're rounding it out, so mentioned the jacket that I got from my uncle. My brother brought by a tote of things from my uncle because I'm the only sports fan, niece and nephew and kid in that group, and he's like, "Oh, here you go. Here's the jacket. It was in a tote with some other stuff." So I was like, "Okay." So I was like going through it, and it's like hats and shirts, and he had a lot of framed photos of things, and a couple Niners books, and there's a baseball in there. And I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" And I pick it up, and it's on a little stand. I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." And I look at it, and I look at the autograph. I'm like, "That autograph looks familiar." So I do a Google image search on it. A Willie Mays autographed baseball is now in my possession. I did not think that I would be getting one of my prized possessions yesterday, but that's how it is.
Wow, that's a nice pass down.
Yeah, I texted my brother who doesn't really he doesn't care about sports at all. I texted him and I was like, "Hey, you casually gave me a one of the 5 to 10 best baseball players of all time, an autographed baseball by him." He was like, "Oh, you're welcome." It's been in his trunk for a week. That's crazy. Any last minute questions? It's 9:53. We got a few more minutes here.
I'm looking up. That is like $1,000 baseball. Wow.
Yeah, right? But the thing is like, it doesn't matter how much it's worth. Like, my cousins weren't going to sell it. I'm not going to sell it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a very
worth more than
valuable
$1,000 to you. Clearly, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I would bring it up to them, but it's also like the monetary value doesn't matter because none of us have any plans on selling it. So It's just even my wife who doesn't like baseball is like, oh, we gotta find a place to put this. And I was like, yeah, we really do.
Do you think he got it autographed himself?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's
huge
awesome.
Sports fan. Bear grew up in and around the Bay Area. Huge sports fan his whole life. Rivaling what my mom and sister got me for my 30th birthday, which was a pennant signed. Question in the chat before my computer dies on me. Bench one and Superflex. Joe Burrow. Oh. Are we back?
Daniels in Love. Burrow, Daniels in Love.
Burrow, Daniels in Love. I'm benching Love. I don't like that weather. He's sorry, I'm gonna be futzing with my there we go. We got it. We're back here. We're back, folks. I'm leaning Love as well. Sorry about that, everybody.
Sorry about the
wasn't actually
sorry about the internet today. I'm doing this from a remote location. It won't be like this most weeks.
Evans in the bunker. I'm benching Love there out of Burrow's Daniels Love. Burrow Daniels Love. I did a lead. Half PPR. Yeah. Dobbs versus Detroit. Coker versus Saints. McMillan at Kansas City. Drop Bateman for Taysom Lottery at Carolina. Read the weather is bad for the Packers game. Could someone in the? Oh no. Are we done?
No, we're good.
I went. My screen is now fantasy football today. What? I don't know what happened.
Damn, I'm sorry.
I must have accidentally clicked on something. There we go. I would go Coker versus Saints. And drop Bateman for Taysom Lottery at Carolina. Sure. And if you want to play the Taysom game, go ahead. Taysom Hill exists outside time, space, logic, everything. Speaking of existing out of time and space, I finished Agatha All Along last night. Good Marvel show. There have been some really stinky ones, but good Marvel show. It's not very Marvel-y. It's not like, oh my God, that's Hulk's kid from, the Incredulous Hulk issue 932. It's not a lot of stuff like that. It's a good story.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Agatha All Along?
Is a book?
It's a show on Disney Plus.
Oh. Okay,
Did you watch WandaVision at all?
No.
Okay.
That's not me.
WandaVision's also good.
That's not me. That's not my genre. I don't do well with fantasy.
Okay, so yeah, Agatha All Along follows a witch. So you probably would not go well with this one.
Would not know. And we should probably...
It's good because there's one character that's this like old witch that like says stuff throughout each episode that's kind of fits what they're supposed to be talking about, but also like not really. You're like, what is she talking about? Is she losing her mind? And then you find out in the third to last episode that she's unstuck in time.
Whoa.
So she's just kind of
now you've spoiled it for me, so now I'm definitely not going to watch it. I'm an extra not watch it.
Who is unstuck in time? Oh my God, what was the character's name in Fahrenheit 450? Not Fahrenheit 451. In Slaughterhouse 5.
I've not read that. I'm not a Vonnegut. I don't have a lot of Vonnegut in my collection. I know. I should have my kids read it and tell me about it. That's what I've been doing.
Slaughterhouse 5. Yeah, I think your kids could read that. What's the protagonist's name? It's Billy Pilgrim. There you go. Billy Pilgrim has become unstuck in time. All right, it is 9:59, folks. If you're asking questions now, it's too late. Your rosters are going to be locked by the time you figure it out. So, Niners can't hurt me today. Last boom plays: Patrick Mahomes, Cooper Kupp, Alvin Kamara, and Kyle Pitts are my boom plays this week. Stay away from Jordan Love and go Niners.
Go Ravens.